Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss the topic of stratified squamous epithelium. As the name indicates, it's a multi-layered epithelium. The word stratified for more than one layers. So the overall thickness of stratified squamous epithelium is different in different areas of the body depending upon its function over there. So the name squamous is given because of the flat shaped cells which are present in topmost layer of the stratified squamous epithelium. So we also have a basal layer. The cells in the basal layer of stratified squamous epithelium are cuboidal or sometimes columnar in shape. An important thing to remember is that the stem cells, which are responsible for regeneration of epithelial cells, are also present in this basal layer. Above the basal layer, we have 2 or 3 layers of suprabasal layers. These are the cells which are polygonal in shape. So here we have a beautiful image of stratified squamous epithelium. You can see there are a number of layers from top till the bottom. So this is the basal layer resting on the basement membrane. The shape of the cell in the basal layer is somewhat different from the layers in upper portion, and as we go and as we reach to the topmost layer, we have mostly flattened squamous cells in which the nuclei is quite prominent and you cannot distinguish the borders of individual cell from each other. So stratified squamous epithelium can be keratinized or non-keratinized depending upon the presence of a protein called keratin. So let's discuss the two types of stratified epithelium: keratinized epithelium and non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So first we will discuss non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. A non-keratinized type of stratified squamous epithelium is seen in those areas of the body which have little exposure to the abrasion and pressure and environmental wear and tear. Mostly it is present in the mucous membrane where it is fully lubricated. So the locations where you can find non-keratinized epithelium are your oral cavity, the lining of your esophagus, and your vagina. So it is not that this non-keratinized epithelium is completely non-keratinized. Some of the keratinized cells will be present there, but the main difference between non-keratinized and keratinized epithelium is the amount of keratin present in these cells. The amount of keratin present in keratinized epithelium is a lot more than in the non-keratinized epithelium. So the function of this keratin is basically the protection of epithelial cells. Because of the absence of this keratin, or because you can say it's little amount of keratin present in non-keratinized epithelium, this type of epithelium is a fragile type of epithelium, and that's why it's mostly located in those areas of body which have little exposure to the external pressure or external wear and tear, which have nothing to do with the environmental stress. Okay, another thing you must remember is that if the non-keratinized type of epithelium is exposed to constant pressure or constant stress, it can turn into keratinized epithelium, and this is the case which we see in cases of chronic smoking. In case of chronic smoking, the epithelia of oropharynx, it gradually change into a keratinized type of epithelium, which is quite atypical because the epithelium in these locations is supposed to be a non-keratinized. So when it changed to keratinized type because of the constant pressure and stress, this change is called an atypical change. So here just have a look on this non-keratinized type of epithelium. You can see starting from this layer we have different layers of cells until you reach the topmost layer. You can see the nuclei present in the topmost layer. Now the next topic is keratinized type of stratified squamous epithelium. First of all, you must remember where this kind of epithelium will be present. So it is present in those tissues which are exposed to regular physical abrasion, pressure, stress, and another important thing, the keratinized epithelium is present in those areas which are at the risk of drying out, which are at the risk of dehydration. Okay, so in non-keratinized epithelium, you see non-keratinized epithelium was present in mucosa and it was well lubricated there, but in keratinized epithelium it is specifically present in those areas which have the danger of dehydration, which means it can resist the dehydration if it is exposed to. So in keratinized epithelium, we have in the topmost layer you have a numerous layer of dead squamous cells, and these dead squamous cells are full of keratin which offer protection. Then another thing which you must remember in the about the cells of keratinized epithelium, the topmost cells, they are anuclear in appearance. Okay, so when you see under the microscope, you cannot appreciate the nuclei present in the squamous cells of keratinized epithelium, because they are completely filled by the keratin granules, and their nuclei is invisible, and also because of the fact that most of the cells which have reached to the topmost layer, they are basically dead cells. Example of keratinized epithelium is skin. This is the best example of keratinized epithelium, where it is present as a part of epidermis. Skin is that tissue of our body which is exposed to most of environmental stress and pressure. Okay, so number of layers in keratinized epithelium. Keratinized epithelium have a definite number of layers. It can have four layers or 5 layers depending upon the type of skin where it is present. So in thin skin we have 4 layers, while in thick skin the keratinized epithelium is made up of 5 layers. So I hope you understand the difference between thick and thin skin. Thick skin is the one which is present in our palm and soles, while all other places the skin which is present is called thin skin. So the specific names are given to these layers of keratinized epithelium. If we start from the basal layer, first of all we have stratum basale. Stratum basale, as I told you before, mostly the cells in stratum basale will be columnar or cuboidal in shape. Then above that we have a layer of stratum spinosum, then stratum granulosum, and then we have the stratum lucidum. You must remember the important point that this is the stratum lucidum which is absent in case of thin skin. Okay, and then topmost layer is that of stratum corneum. Okay, so the cells, when they are produced in the basal layer, they move upward towards the top, and as they go upward they gradually attain the property of synthesizing the keratin. These cells are named as keratinocytes, although these keratinocytes are quite immature in their basalic layer. Then as they move forward, pass through the stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, and finally when they reach the stratum granulosum, they are able to synthesize complete mature keratin. And the stratum lucidum, in fact they are completely filled with the keratin that you cannot distinguish the cell boundaries or the nuclear structures. And then finally in the stratum corneum you have just the layers of dead squamous cells full of keratin, and the cells which are quite anuclear. Here you can well appreciate different layers. This is the stratum basale, these 1 or 2 layers of stratum basale. Then we have these layers of stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum. Then this is the stratum lucidum which is absent in case of thin skin, and then finally the topmost layer, stratum corneum. So here to appreciate the difference between keratinized and non-keratinized epithelium, you should see the topmost layer. Whenever you are going to identify the layers in the microscope, you should see the topmost layer. In keratinized epithelium, the topmost layer will be anuclear. You will not see any nuclear present in these cells, while in non-keratinized epithelium you can easily appreciate the nuclei present in topmost squamous cells. Thank you.